Is Lloyd not coming?
The words are all the way to
Lloyd's not here.
Well, I'm just saying, yeah, that's coming, but then I just kind of let it go. I'm covered.
She's on it.
How are you?
We're fine.
The camera is on, so don't say anything you don't want the public to know.
Thank you.
I got a movie for your wife, but I think you would like it too. A movie? Yeah. You see, we get little letters. You know what I'm talking about? We get letters, we get little this, yeah, we saw that theater, which is part of the section. I can see you do my spot.
Oh, this was yesterday?
Yeah, outside of your and it's about this town, women get these letters in. Oh, it's just, I was laughing at that, but I think they put it too, because it's feisty, it's called look at the letters.
Okay. Sounds
They're easily enough for you will be very.
Looks like you got it all going on up there.
Oh, she's a slosh.
Have you noticed there's always that one little dome that comes after all the rest of it? It's really nice to see everybody. So, welcome to the First Universalist Church of Madison. The sermon today is not about the eclipse. I figure, so our scientist here is leaving. I figure with all the publicity and the media coverage and all of that, we all know about the eclipse. We're excited about the eclipse. Probably most of us, maybe all of us, have our glasses, but I thought that maybe today we wouldn't do eclipse from the pulpit, other than to say that if you're inclined to pray or burn sage or something, you can hope for a sunny afternoon tomorrow. I'd like to open, well, let me check, are there any announcements?
Next week, tentatively, Rick Polhamus, you remember he was here a year or so ago on Christian Peacemakers. We'll be here with his thoughts on Israel, Palestine.
Oh, wow.
I've talked to him, actually I've talked to him a lot about the horrors, but I haven't talked to him a lot about what's going on in Israel. But he always has something interesting to present.
And a lot of experience.
A tremendous amount of experience. And we'll try and get those pictures. If you remember, the most memorable picture was the Israeli soldier pointing his rifle right at his head. That he has a picture of. So he usually has some good pictures we'll put up on the slideshow too.
Good.
So
Rick Polhamus.
tentatively, Rick Polhamus, his schedule is kind of flexible, so I tentatively tried to schedule him in, so hopefully he'll be here. If not, he'll come later.
All right, thank you. Other announcements? Then I'll open our service with these words. This is a congregation that gathers in faith, not faith in one religion or one God or any one way. We gather in faith of the power of diversity, the power of love, and the hope of a world transformed by our care. We gather in faith in ourselves and those around us, not a faith that requires perfection or rightness in one another. Rather, a faith that in our shared imperfection, we may learn to stumble and fall together. Faith that we will help one another to rise and to try again and again. Roberta.
I'm playing this morning, Praise Be to God the Almighty.
Thank you, Roberta. That was lovely. A lovely way to start the rest of the morning. Tim's going to light the chalice for me as I share these thoughts. And this is entitled The Light for Everyone Who Comes into the World. Reverently, I offer this symbol of our hope and high intent. Reverently, I bequeath this flame to you. This is the light that is lit for everyone who comes into the world. Bear this light to others, one by one. Let the flame go from life to life till all are lit by its warmth. If you'll join me, we're going to sing hymn number 8 in your hymnal, which is Mother Spirit, Father Spirit. When it's my turn to be in the pulpit, I like to have us do this affirmation that you see printed in your order of worship. The first time that Dick and I came to church here, this really caught my attention, and it's been an important part of the service for me ever since. So if you will join me in saying along, love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth its sacrament, and service is its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human needs to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. We're a caring community when we share special joys that lift our hearts and concerns that might bring us pain. In these times, we are heard. When we are heard, we are honored. When we are honored, we can move forward toward healing. We will now light a candle in honor of those joys and concerns now shared. I invite you to share any joys or concerns that may be on your heart. Dick.
Light a candle for the people of Ukraine. It seems like we turned our back on them, which we do. We help people up to a certain point.
For the people of Ukraine, and as always, we have the sunflowers here representative of our concern for Ukraine. Other joys and...
I got joy. Tuesday was my last stenting session. I'm done. And this one was a little rough on me, but I'm really getting anxious. I've been resting, and I got 2 weeks of just resting. And I'm antsy, I'm ready, you know. And so my heart and muscle is strong. My EKG looks good. And so that's a joy.
That's certainly a joy.
Yeah.
After that surprise of that heart attack earlier this year.
I'm being a little selfish with the stents. I would like to not take as many. I have 9 like
9 stents.
That's a lot.
You're a porcupine on the, you're a porcupine on the inside. Other joys and sorrows, concerns.
We light a candle for Margaret. She hasn't been here for quite a while. I hear from her occasionally on email, and she makes an oblique reference to something going on, but everybody knows Margaret. She's a very private person, so whatever it is, we would like for her to know that we support her, and anything we could do, we would be more than happy to help.
Okay, for Margaret Shriver, I did exchange emails with her yesterday.
Good.
She said she wouldn't be here today. For one thing, it's a 92-mile round trip for her. And the other thing is she's been a bit scared off by all the predictions of bad traffic the day before the eclipse. So I know that's why she's not here today.
Okay.
Other joys, concerns?
I have a joy in returning from a wonderful trip to India, and that joy also results in my appreciation and love for the community, my immediate community around me as I speak, as well as the world at large, and particularly our country. As we've all read those famous quotes about travel, giving you a new perspective, and all that Mark Twain wonderful quote, and all those, it certainly came to pass, and I appreciate your inquiries, and I will have some pictures to share after service today, and it's nice to be back.
Welcome home from India. It's nice to have you back.
We need to light a candle for Israel and I think Haiti, maybe 1 candle. There seem to be so many problems, we don't have enough candles.
We don't have enough candles. Israel, but we can't talk about Israel without talking about Gaza, without talking about the aid workers who were killed this week, without so many other intractable, seemingly intractable issues that all go with that. And frankly, are starting to keep me awake at night. So pretend that's 1 million or more candles. And also Haiti, where things have descended into lawlessness. Yes?
I just wanted to say I'm proud to have my 2 children here today.
Roberta's proud to have her 2 children here today, and if you don't mind sharing this candle, I'm very happy to have my daughter, my husband, my brother, and my brother-in-law here also. We can pretend if we need more candles, or I can borrow one from over there. Any more candles?
My granddaughter, who's my oldest grandkid, she's bringing my great-grandkids today. And they weren't able to come on Easter, so they're going to get their Easter baskets today. And those 2, one's 6, one's 8, and they just keep me laughing the whole time. They're just so funny.
And these are great-grandkids?
Great, yeah.
Well, Todd, let's get you a candle.
Yeah, I love it when they come over. They're a trip.
For Ty, his family, his great-grandkids, the fun of Easter baskets with little kids, all that stuff. Any more? I have one in hand. We'll use this then for unspoken joys and concerns that remain in our hearts. That's a lot of candles.
Yeah.
All right. For the message. You see the title. What is religion? Why? Why is there religion? And is religion good? Well, I wonder if you also wonder about these topics. As I was preparing for today, I thought of something that reminded me that I think I personally have always been both fascinated by religion and somewhat leery of it. When I was a kid, we went religiously to the EUB church every Sunday. I like church. Sunday school, church. Later, I played the piano for the junior choir. I was in the youth fellowship. I liked church. I liked learning about the life of Jesus, who is a guiding light in my life today. I liked all that. I liked it a lot. It was meaningful to me. Then when I was about 12, I'm going to guess, we had a series of lessons, catechism, to get ready for ultimately baptism and then joining the church. Because in the EUB church, at least in ours, there was not infant baptism. It was to be an informed choice when you got older. I went through the classes. I enjoyed them. It got to the point of needing to make the covenant, if you will, to be baptized, and I couldn't do it. I felt like the words that I would be required to say were kind of a combination of things I might not live up to, but even more so, things I didn't fully believe in. And I wasn't willing to make that commitment. This is at 12 years of age. And I had forgotten about it. It was like way back in my mind. And it came back to me this week. So when I say that I was both leery of religion and fascinated by it, that remains true today. Interestingly enough, when I think about it, neither my parents nor the minister pushed me on that too much. I said I just wasn't ready to do that. So, if you look at the 3 questions that constitute the title of my remarks, I recognize this is a very, very broad topic. And it starts with 3 separate questions. We'll take them one at a time. What is religion? And of the 3, I actually think this may be the simplest. And granted, again, as on all these topics, I found multiple points of view of what the answer should be. But I've come up with a definition of religion that I think will work for this morning. Religion represents human beings' relation to that which they regard as holy, sacred, divine, or worthy of reverence. Religion is also commonly seen as the way in which people deal with concerns about their lives and their fate after death. In many religious traditions, religion is expressed by belief in God or gods. In addition, certain texts may be deemed to have scriptural status, and certain individuals are esteemed to have spiritual or moral authority. Believers and worshipers may perform devotional or contemplative practices such as prayer, meditation, or particular rituals. Such actions may be required to be considered a true follower of a particular religion. Worship, moral conduct, right belief, and participation in religious institutions are among the key elements of religious life, or can be at least. And although I have read through a number of definitions of religion, much of what I've just shared comes from Britannica.com, interestingly enough, and I want to be sure to give them credit. Notice that in the definition I just shared, as well as in other definitions I found, religion can only be seen as a human construct. Unlike, let's say, the eclipse, which is going to happen whether or not there are humans on the earth. Religion does not exist separately from human beings. Here's how I look at it. Across time and all across the globe, humans have invented religion. So that takes us to our second question, why? Why is there religion? It's Sunday. Here we are in church. Elsewhere in our village, there are also people sitting in the pews of the Methodist Church, the Baptist Church, and other churches. Think about that and let your thoughts expand to include all the other churches in Darke County, in Ohio, in the United States, and around the world. Think of all the earth's human beings who have met in this single week. Perhaps on Sunday, perhaps on another day, perhaps on another night, in churches, in mosques. It's Ramadan, by the way. In temples, in living rooms, or maybe participating in ritual dances or sitting around a fire. What draws us all, literally billions of us, to the experience of worship? Why is there religion? I'm no theologian. You all know that better than most people. There are people here who are, no doubt, better schooled in the subject of religion than I am. Nonetheless, this is a question which has puzzled me for a long time. Why? Why is there religion? And why so many religions? An incomplete list includes Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Confucianism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Judaism, Shinto, and many primal religions. As I said, that's an incomplete list. By some estimates, there are over 4,000 religions in the world. Within many of these religions, there are further groupings. Take Christianity, for example. Among Christians are Catholics, Eastern Orthodox, Protestant, and within each of these there are further strains. Protestants include Presbyterians, Quakers, Baptists, and the list goes on. From what I've been able to learn, nearly 75% of the Earth's population practices one of the 5 most influential religions of the world. Christianity at 2.1 billion, Islam at 1.3 billion, Hinduism at 900 million. Buddhism comes next, and Judaism is 5th. So 75% of the Earth's population practices one of these 5 religions. Clearly, there is something in the human condition which compels humankind to seek answers to life's greater mysteries, to seek the truth, and to band together in worship when it appears that the source of the answers may be within its grasp, or temptingly just beyond its grasp. So we know that there is religion, and we know it is important in the lives of many people around the globe. But that doesn't completely address why. Why is there religion? Think about the definition with which I began these remarks. If we accept that description of characteristics that make a religion, we see that religion is not simply a belief system or faith. Religion differs from private belief in that it has a public aspect. It differs from private belief in that it has a public aspect. It often has clerical hierarchies, regular services or meetings, religious texts, requirements for membership, rituals, etc. I think this makes the question, why is there religion, even more interesting of a question. It expands the question to take in not only why humans have a transcendent sense of wonder and awe, but why they choose to band together to practice their version of beliefs. Many learned individuals have studied religion and have proposed theories regarding why religion exists. I have books on my bookshelf that I go to when, often when I'm going to prepare a sermon. Karen Armstrong, Houston Smith, Marcus Borg. But you know what? I realized those are all Christians. They're all Christians who practice an expanded view of Christianity. I would say they're all Christians who would consider themselves, I just learned this term, non-exclusive Christians. I'm Christian, but I acknowledge other belief systems are valid. So there are many learned individuals, some who have made it their life's work to study religion and why there's religion. And they have proposed theories regarding why religion exists. There are countless ideas, countless. Here are some. One theory is that religion has come about to help people make sense of events which seem incomprehensible. I think at one time, before the cosmos was so well understood, the eclipse would have been one of those incomprehensible events. And in these cases, religion relies on unseen, hidden forces to provide answers where none seem to exist. That's one theory. Another idea regarding why religion exists is that as humans evolved from small hunter-gatherer tribes into larger cultures, our ancestors, our way back ancestors, needed to encourage cooperation and tolerance among relative strangers. Religion then, along with the belief in a moralizing God, helped humans cooperate and to have a common purpose. Think of the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. A version of the golden rule exists in many religions, and it is a good rule for living in community. Now we turn to some psychological scientists. These happen to be at the Queen's University in Ontario, who are attempting to empirically test their theory. Their theory is that the primary purpose of religion is to enhance the process of self-control. In other words, religion can kind of govern how I behave in a positive way. I won't go through their methodology and their experiments, but they have done them and they have documented them. So, their theory, as I said, is the primary purpose of religious belief is to enhance the process of self-control, which in turn promotes a number of valuable social behaviors. Maybe this is kind of like do unto others, really. Very interesting. Religion in that case exists to encourage each of us to greater self-control, to delay gratification, to wait for greater reward later on. And here's yet another way to look at how religion came about and why it still thrives. This comes from a primatologist, Franz de Waal. He suggests this definition. Religion is the shared reverence for the supernatural, sacred or spiritual, as well as the symbols, rituals, and worship associated with it. De Waal's definition echoes one given by sociologist Emil Durkheim, who also emphasized the importance of shared experiences that unite into one moral community. The importance of shared experience can't be overstated, since in the story we're telling, the evolution of human religion is inseparable from the ever-increasing sociality of humans. Religion is a way of being. We also may look at it as a way of feeling, as in we feel the same way. We're feeling together through our lives. So there they are, some of the theories of why religion exists. Frankly, I find something to offer in each of them, but none purely convincing. The explanation that rings truest to me is that religion helps humans sort out the unknowable and leads us, in many cases, to be our better selves. So, hate to tell you this, guys, but I haven't found the answer to why religion exists. And I hope you didn't plan to leave here today with that answer tied up with a bow. So we've talked about what is religion, we've talked about why religion. Now we're going to talk about, is it good? I think the answer is yes, no, sometimes. I'm done. No. If we look at religion's impact on an individual person, so I'm just one person, religion and spirituality aren't always associated with greater well-being. People who experience struggles with their religious and spiritual beliefs often experience greater anxiety. They're not living up to their own beliefs. They may have greater anxiety, depression, and other forms of lowered psychological well-being. My source on this was some psychologists.
Can you say that again?
Because Lisa was busy being so noisy? I said people who experience troubles with their religious and spiritual beliefs often experience greater anxiety, depression, and other forms of lowered psychological well-being. In addition, although people who believe in a forgiving God tend to forgive themselves when they make mistakes, those who believe in a less forgiving God deal with themselves more harshly. In one study, researchers found that when HIV-positive men believed in a merciful and forgiving God, they tended to live longer and live better. This would have been back in the days before there were medications and treatments that were effective. And we've all heard of similar examples where people who are unwell for other reasons can take it from their faith, something that helps them live longer and live better. But in this same study, HIV-positive men who believed that God was harsh, judgmental, and punishing lived in such a way that their disease progressed more rapidly. They died sooner. So what this points out is it's not just whether a person's religious or not, the particular ideals of a religious or spiritual system really matter. On a macro level, consider these negative implications of religion. Religion has often been a source of division and conflict. That's not new to us. Throughout history, religious differences have led to wars, persecution, discrimination. Religious dogmas can be rigid and inflexible, and therefore they discourage critical thinking. Religious leaders can, and sometimes do, exploit emotions, including fear and guilt. This list can go on and on with similar examples. And frankly, I imagine you're aware of most of them. So as I shared earlier, I believe religion is a human construct. We have invented it, we humankind in this case. Religion can reflect all that is good in human beings. It can help us deal with life's most difficult questions. It can help us be more tolerant and loving. It can motivate whole groups of people to generosity and kindness. On the other hand, religion can be used to exploit the very worst that people are capable of. So the answer to the question really is yes, No, sometimes. In the end, it comes down to each of us, and frankly, I think to the golden rule. It comes down to each of us to embrace and act upon the principles that underlie our UU heritage and so many of the world's religions. It comes down to us to use our own view of religion to work towards a better world. And that's not so easy. If we're really serious about it, it's not so easy. Now I really am done. Your turn. Comments accepted. Welcome.
Maybe my cynical side, but from somewhere in my past, I remember the quote, "Religion is the opiate of the masses."
I think that's Lenin or Marx
Lenin,
or somebody
Marx, or
like
Engels,
that.
that kind of is what I was thinking too. And you didn't have much emphasis on that, but part of that cynicism is religion was created to control the masses. Religion is kind of given to people and they follow it and they do what they're told, and it gives them relief from thinking on their own, from making their own decisions. It pushes them in the direction that the people, the leaders want them to go into. And I look at it in a very cynical way that many of the more religious leaders have that goal in mind, is controlling the group of people that follow them, almost like a cult, basically.
So, that's one point of view. And it's validated by examples that are out there. But what about the Mother Teresas of the world? What about the people who put their beliefs, I don't know for sure at all that the aid workers from the World's Kitchen were there because of religious beliefs, but there certainly are organizations driven by religious beliefs who put their own lives at risk to help others. That's equally true. So it's all the range of behaviors and actions that take place in the world and are attributed to religion is quite a spectrum of actions. And each of us, we're influenced by our heritage, by our parents, our grandparents. But we also each have a brain and a heart, I hope. And we can choose which course of action we want to follow. And if we want to be religious, well, sometimes you just don't want to be religious. It happens to you, right? For a lot of people, it happens to them. They're religious because there's no choice but to be religious. Nonetheless, I do think we all have the opportunity to behave a certain way within the bounds of the religion that we have chosen or has been chosen for us. More comments? Claire?
For some time, 2 or 3 years, I've come to think religion is a tool that Karen Armstrong once said that humans, number one, they have a tendency to fall into despair. The world is scary, and they fall into despair. And she also said that people want answers, as you indicated, to questions about why are things the way they are. And I think that I've come to think in the last 2 or 3 years that religion is a tool that Cro-Magnon people invented to do those two things. If we think of it as a tool, then if we get a hammer, and I'm not a very common sense person, so about all the only hammer I use is a claw hammer. And if a hammer is no longer pounding nailed in, or the claw is no longer pulling ones out that don't go in straight, which I need that a lot, then you go throw it away, go get another hammer. And that kind of goes to whether religion is good or not. And because if it's not good, then you need to get rid of it and get something else. And to me, whether religion is good or not goes to what the purpose of life is. And my answer to that is one word, and that's a Greek word, eudaimonia, which a professor that I had in college defined as a life where you're flourishing.
A life where you're flourishing?
Yes, a life where you're flourishing. That's the purpose of life. If your religion is not helping you to flourish, then you need, my humble opinion, it's just like the hammer that's not pulling those crooked nails that I hammer a lot out anymore. You need to get rid of it and replace it. And that's, I think, a typical UU. It's easy for a UU to say that. It's not so easy for a Baptist to say that.
And it reminds me of that old adage, for a man with a hammer, every problem is a nail.
Right.
So if your
Right.
hammer is your religion.
Good point. Yeah, good point.
Thank you, Ty. Claire?
The study of people with HIV and religion. I would be interested to read that because there's a saying, correlation does not prove causation. Just
This is our daughter, the scientist. Yes, that's true. That is true. We should be careful with those kinds of things.
One thing that's bothered me about religion all my life, why are there so many? Aren't they all basically wanting to do the same thing? Doesn't everybody want to get to heaven, have an afterlife, do good?
Seth wants to answer that.
Why are there 4,000 religions in the world instead of one?
Different people.
You did, I'm sorry, Dick, were you done?
We'll have a debate right now, come on.
I'm gonna answer.
Oh, see.
All right, Seth has the answer.
I've thought a lot about this, and over the years, I have come to believe that the different religions, the different faiths are like language. And they're both cultural expressions, and they have formed our culture. But we see the questions, we see the answers, we see our relationship with the divinity, if that's part of that faith, according to a cultural basis, and that's why. I mean, how many thousands of languages are there?
Maybe even more than there are
But
religions.
everybody knows English is the best.
Well, if you think about religion as having sprung up around campfires all over the world and evolving over hundreds, probably thousands of years, like language, they would have evolved differently. Oh, Jeff wants to say something.
Just in response to the language question, is when I was posted, in the foreign service in Budapest, I learned a great Hungarian expression, which is God's zoo is really big, which I think sort of captures the languages, the culture, the religion. But I just want to comment that I lived 7 years between the Mediterranean and Jordan, and the Jordan River. So 7 years basically centered on Jerusalem. Weirdly, that was the least religious place, as my understanding of religion, that I've ever been. Because the Jews, the Muslims, and the Christians, the living there, not the pilgrims, looked at their religion in a very exclusive, identity-based philosophy. We are not you. We are Christians, or we are Muslims. We are Jews. And it was, in my view, in the very center of Christendom, the very center of Judaism, one of the three holiest sites of Islam, was really the least religious in the terms that we're talking about, sort of inclusive, forgiving, golden rule type religion.
And to that, my husband was an embassy guard in Jerusalem, and he was raised Catholic, and at one point even thought about going into the priesthood as a young person, and after spending his time in Jerusalem, lost his faith for those same reasons.
Yes, I mean, For those of us who grew up in Christian churches where God is love, and the teachings of Jesus are so inclusive, to find yourself in the Holy Land and find that's not what's in practice. It throws your brain around in your head. So.
And I think that's when organized religion assumes or gets mixed up with politics. And what, in that case, what is politics, what is religion, and there's really, can you even separate?
Let's take one more comment, and Lou's been trying to say something, I think.
Well, first of all, I think that this church, the Unitarian Universalist, somebody asked me about it. I said, well, it's kind of like a non-religion religion. And most of us here probably starting out as standard religion, mostly Christian. I mean, I started out as a teenager, I was a devout Catholic. And like your husband, I was asked by a nun in 8th grade, why don't you consider becoming a priest? It scared me. I went home, I said, Dad, I don't want to be a priest. He goes, well, you don't have to, but not ask me. But, and then became a Presbyterian, was a deacon, then became an elder. And then I went to priests and I don't know, I don't go for this. I don't think Jesus resides in a cracker. I don't think I need to tell a priest my sins. Presbyterian religion had great ministers. And then went through purity again. And here I am, doing this right here. And I think that to pat ourselves on the back, we can probably give a lot of thought to our beliefs and our religion. Some of us here don't believe. Some of us are not sure. Some of us are very deep believers. And we all seem to get along. I've never seen any fistfights after church, never. Which is good. So I'm glad I'm here. Denise is glad we're here. But when we talk about religion, but I consider, I don't know, that's maybe not correct, but you use our non-religion religion, if that makes any sense to you.
I looked up, is Unitarian Universalism a religion? Because it seems to me it is not. It's an association of congregations where individuals are free to choose their beliefs. But in terms of being a religion,
right. No. I think all of us have thought about it. And I don't mean this to be bad. A very long time, we had a long time to think about this, which means we're mature, not older.
Thank you all. I think you've really added insights and thoughts to this topic that are very important. Because as I said, I don't even pretend to. I knew going into it I would not have the answer. And I know you knew as I was going into it, I would not have the answer. It's the time in our service when we take up an offering. If you would like to contribute, the offering plate is up front. If you're in need of help, monetary help or other help, let us know. And that can be our offering to you.
Before we sing, this is the first Sunday. We forgot to mention this is Fish Sunday.
Oh.
if anybody would like to add anything extra. You can do it afterwards, you don't have to do it now.
So this church contributes every month to the Dark County Fish Food Bank, and on the first Sunday of each month, we take up a special offering, and the funds will go directly to the food bank. I completely forgot that.
As did we all.
So if you care to, either now or after service, there's a second plate up here. It's shaped like a fish. Yeah. You may feel free to add it. Shall we move forward with the doxology? Our second and final hymn will be number 134, Our World is One World. Verses 1 and 4.
1 and 4. Okay.
2 verses, 1 and 4.
Okay. I'll extinguish our chalice with these words. Yes, I will. The world is too beautiful to be praised by only one voice. May you have the courage to sing your part. The world is too broken to be healed by only one set of hands. May you have the courage to use your gifts. May you go in peace.
One of my favorite songs. Are you running the slides?
What?
Are you running the slides?
No, she's running the slides. I
Oh, would
just
you
put
put the religion, the third from the last one, not that one, not the worst one, but the next. There we go.
Oh, look, I went too far.
There.
Those are both books that are written about religion.
Boy, I really appreciated everybody speaking.
It is so nice here that when you can spark an idea, it tells you how important the idea was too. Perfect topic. So.
Who's your neighbor? I wonder if he's in relation to Reinhold.
Oh, you brought the flowers. Yeah, Jeff, these are from Jeff Martin.
Oh, really? It traveled well.
Yeah, well, you brought 3 of them. And then also, yeah, that was the
A little better, it might be worse.
Hi, Cecil. I asked about you last week, but I guess you didn't have a I can get your way.
You're Christel's brother? And you are the brother-in-law? He's the brother-in-law. Brother-in-law? Okay, okay. Nice to meet you.
I